I know that come with being in the street already. He ain't like Marlo got killed, and I was like, damn, boy, you can really get killed out here. I know this. This ain't nothing I don't know. Marlo a real case of like the streets and the rapping. Two whole different worlds. And he more so got caught up in the streets than rapping.
Lil Marlo was a big deal in the Atlanta rap scene, you know? He started out grinding on the streets, but then he scored a sweet deal with QC and even got Lil Baby to join him in the studio. He had the talent and connections to make it real big, but then things took a dark turn in 2020 when he got shot and murked in his own hometown. Marlo grew up on the west side of Atlanta, right in the heart of Bowen Homes projects. Atlanta got some seriously rough neighborhoods, and Bowen Homes was no exception. It was one of the toughest spots, actually. The violence got so out of hand that the city straight up demolished the whole project in 2009. Growing up in that kind of wild environment, Marlo had to learn to adapt real quick. He was like, I know how to survive in the jungle, home of the murderers and drug dealers.
Streets prepared me for life, kid. I learned a lot in the streets.
Marlo's biological mom was always around, but he mostly lived with his stepmom, who started schooling him from an early age. But with the kind of streets he was living in, Marlo had rappers around too. The legendary Atlanta rapper Shawty Lo was from the same hood, and Marlo said he knew him since he was like 3 years old. Back in the day, being a rapper wasn't even on Marlo's radar. He was all about diving into that street hustle, man.
See, you know, like, with Lo, I really seen him put the street work down, you feel me?
Yeah.
So I had the ambition to want to be like him in the streets.
Yeah.
Like, then you know, he come with the music. Cause you know, I'm like, man, Lo ain't no rapper for real, you feel me?
Marlo even honored Shawty Lo with an RIP tattoo on his chest. He spoke about it during an interview when he went on to say,
woke up, man, I finally seen that shit all on Instagram and shit. I'm like, hey, I'll tell that shit right here. RP Shawty, I got that shit on.
Marlo was always hanging out with older dudes who were already in the game, and he learned the ropes by watching them. That's how he managed to steer clear of jail, too. Most guys who jump into that life early end up bouncing in and out of jail, but Marlo said he was too sharp to get caught up like that. If he saw someone in the hood messing up and getting locked up, he'd make sure to pay attention to their mistakes so he wouldn't repeat it. By the time he hit his teenage years, Marlo was already putting in some serious money from the streets. So when Marlo was in the 9th grade, he made the call to drop out and just go all in on hustling. He even tried to go the legit route once, working in construction. His uncle hooked him up with the gig, but guess what? Marlo bounced after just one day because he was making way more cash doing his own thing.
I had a construction job. I quit on the first day.
First day?
First day.
What would make you quit on your first day?
Like, phone ringing like hell. Like, I'm like, man, I'm gone. Like, man, I'm finna go make this money right now, I'm telling you.
Even though he never really thought about stepping into the recording booth, Marlo was always surrounded by rappers. It was only a matter of time before music would become his line of business. Young Thug was always pushing Marlo to hit the studio. Eventually, Big Bank managed to get him to drop a track by totally tricking him into it.
But you know, me and Young Thug,
Yeah.
me and Slime be talking on the regular, you feel me? You know, Slime just telling me like one day, hey man, this Marlo, it's a sacrifice.
Then there's also Big Bank. Big Bank's got some serious pull in the Atlanta rap scene. He's the boss of Duct Tape Entertainment, and he has ties to heavy hitters like Future, Young Thug, and Playboy Carti. Big Bank's so influential in the city that a lot of folks call him the godfather of Atlanta. P from Quality Control also knew Marlo and was trying to get him into the game too. But Marlo really wasn't listening to any of them. So one day, Big Bank just picked him up without even saying where they were heading. They ended up at the studio, and at first, Marlo thought they were just recording for Big Bank. But once they got inside, Big Bank was like, yo, pick out a beat. So Marlo just hopped right into the booth and laid down a track. Let me tell you, that's when everything flipped for Marlo, Lil Baby, and the whole Atlanta rap scene. Lil Baby and Marlo had been buddies for ages. Both of them were deep into the streets, and everybody around them was pushing them to step into the recording booth. They were both already ranking in some good dough too, so neither of them were thinking about diving into the rap scene at all. But once Marlo dropped his first track, he hit up Baby right away and sent him the song. Listening to his pal lay down a track like that convinced Baby to finally give the booth a shot as well. And look at him now, one of the biggest names in the rap game today. Even though everyone was telling Marlo to stick with rapping, he decided to take a step back for a year and just keep on hustling in the streets. Lil Baby was really digging the whole rapping thing and was ready to leave the streets in the dust, but Marlo was still there, pushing Baby to keep at it. When Marlo saw Baby blowing up right from the start, it hit him that he too could make his own music career go places too. He started hitting the studio more and more, and in 2017, he put out a collab tape with Lil Baby called To The Hard Way. Marlo linked up with Quality Control and started dropping his own solo projects too. He didn't blow up as fast as Baby did, but everybody in Atlanta was tuning in. Marlo was teaming up with big names like Lil Yachty, YFN Lucci, and one day, Offset strolled up into the studio while Marlo was laying down a track with City Girls and just hopped on it without even asking. Even though he was making an effort to move away from the streets, Marlo's journey wasn't all smooth sailing. Back in 2017, a heartbreaking tragedy struck. His daughter passed away at just 6 years old. The exact details aren't clear, but in 2019, during one interview, Marlo spilled the beans saying, "You gotta stand up. You know, they see me break down. You know, my family ain't gonna break down."
I lost my own child. Like, bro, ain't nothing that can really make me drop it to the for real.
People online who paid attention to how Marlo moved were there for him. One person said, "I couldn't imagine losing my daughter. God bless you, Marlo. Respect. Sorry for your loss, brother." Marlo had to step up to be the rock. Losing a child is probably one of the most gut-wrenching things someone can endure. But Marlo explained he couldn't let it hold him down for too long. He had too many people counting on him, so he had to deal with it on his own and then jump right back into the grind. Back in February 2020, he dropped an album, First and Third, and that thing pulled in millions of streams. Plus, he had heavyweights like Young Thug, Future, Gucci Mane, and more throwing down features. Marlo was finally inching closer to hitting it big in the mainstream, but then, just a few months down the line, tragedy struck once again, and this time around, it was Marlo himself who lost his life. Around July of 2020, the Atlanta police got a call about a car crash on Interstate 285 downtown. When they got there, they discovered Marlo in his car, sadly gone due to gunshot wounds. The cops called it a deliberate attack. From what the reports are saying, Marlo's car got hit with more than 100 shots. A candlelight vigil was organized in his memory, and the ones behind his death reportedly even threatened to show up and cause chaos. A video from the scene captures Marlo's aunt addressing the crowd of folks. The news caused a freak out in the crowd, but it seems like nobody actually rolled up and stirred things up. When Marlo passed away, all sorts of rumors started spreading like wildfire, claiming that Lil Baby was the actual intended target of the attack with a $50K bounty on his head. And social media went bananas with wild theories too, but Baby just jumped online and shut all that shit down. And then, of course, DJ Academics shared the rumors. Baby chimed in with a bunch of laughing emojis, then added, like, "Come on, bro, certain stuff ain't to be posted." On Twitter, he wrote, "When in the streets, know what comes with this. Long live Rue. If you f with me, don't post weak fake news." Lil Baby also expressed his grief for Marlo on IG, revealing that Marlo's death made him cry for the first time in 8 years. Marlo's buddy, Jacoby Hudson, shared that Marlo's deep attachment to his neighborhood might have led to his death. George Cheedy, an Atlanta reporter, discussed the situation on Vlad TV. Some were trying to connect another local rapper named Baby Drill to Marlo's death, but according to Cheedy, that's likely not the case. Marlo came from a large family with 8 siblings, and he wasn't the only one entangled in the streets. One of his brothers is currently serving a life sentence, although Marlo never delved into the specifics. Cheedy suggests that one of Marlo's other brothers might have played a role in his death. This sibling faced a murder charge tied to gang conflicts. However, during the trial, 2 of the prosecution's witnesses disappeared before testifying. Rumor has it that they fled to California to avoid the situation, and the case was eventually dropped mid-trial. While cases can often be dismissed before trial even hits, it's highly unusual for a trial to halt once it begins. Cheedy speculates that Marlo might have been targeted in retaliation for the alleged killing by his brother. At this present moment, these are all just rumors and conjecture, without any concrete proof. Marlo wasn't one to air out his conflicts on social media or publicly reveal his problems, but when you're making money on the streets, you're inevitably a target. After Marlo's passing, Lil Yachty shared that they had been working together until 4 in the morning. Lil Baby, who is arguably the closest one in the rap game to Lil Marlo, spoke on the fact that Marlo lost his life. In his view, people sometimes get smoked in the streets, and that's just a part of this dangerous world. Even though Marlo's death got to him and made him cry, it wasn't the first time that he went through something like this before, so Lil Baby knows how it goes in the streets. In the video where he spoke about losing Marlo, you could see that he's trying to keep his cool. He tried to send a message to those in the streets who did him wrong. Some speculate 21 Savage was one of the people somehow connected to this hit, but there's nothing official confirming it. But was Lil Baby trying to say something to 21 Savage with this message? Marlo Marlo aimed to reach Lil Baby's level in the rap game, then proceed to invest his earnings in other ventures. He had a solid plan, but tragically, his life was cut short. Marlo was a talented individual cherished in his hometown. The streets caught up with him before he could fully escape him. His friends will carry his legacy in their music, but the rap world suffered a significant loss when he was killed. Rest in peace, Marlo. If you liked today's video, make sure to click that like button, comment down below, share, and subscribe to our channel. Make sure to check out the channel to stay tuned for more hip-hop content straight to your feed. And as always, you guys keep it RIZZLE.